All right, welcome back. Today, we're diving into something that a lot of us feel but don't always know what to call hyper awareness. You know, that feeling of being too sensitive or just overthinking everything. Well, what if I told you that's not a flaw? What if it's actually your most powerful, untapped asset? We're going to break down how to turn that high resolution radar of yours into a genuine superpower. Let's get into it. So, does this sound familiar? You walk into a meeting, and even though everyone's smiling and saying the right things, you just feel it. Something's off. You notice that tiny pause before someone answers a question, or the slightest shift in their tone. And no, you're not just being paranoid. Your brain is running this incredibly sophisticated survival program. It's not just a gut feeling, it's you processing high-def data from a biological radar most people don't even have turned on. Okay, so how in the world is your brain pulling this off? This isn't some kind of magic trick, it's straight up psychology. Let's pull back the curtain and look at the actual mechanics behind this incredible perceptual skill. At the very heart of this is a process called signal detection analysis. The easiest way to think about this is to remember your first day at a new job or school, right? Your brain was on high alert. You were scanning everything, every conversation, every look for clues about where you fit in, who's friendly, who's not. That's signal detection analysis. It's an ancient survival tool that knows that social exclusion is often silent, so it got really, really good at hearing the whispers. It's not a bug, it's a feature. Now, it's super important to understand that this specialized radar is way different from our normal everyday perception. Most of the time, our brain is kind of lazy. It uses what's called a perceptual set. It's why you can look at a cloud and see a dragon, or why in that famous illusion, one person sees a duck and another sees a rabbit. Your brain just fills in the blanks based on what it expects to see. But hyper-awareness? That's a totally different system. It's not asking, what does this look like? It's asking a much more urgent survival-based question. Is this a threat to me fitting in? And if we want to get a little deeper, this lines up with two major theories of perception. On one hand, you have Richard Gregory's idea of top-down processing. Think of your brain like a library. It uses all your past experiences, all those books, to interpret what's happening right now. Hyper-awareness is basically you being a master librarian, pulling just the right reference book in a split second. On the other hand, there's James Gibson's bottom-up processing, which is like seeing something for the very first time, with no past experience to guide you. You're just building your understanding from the raw data. And this brings us to the most important point of all. This ability, this gift for reading the silent signals, is a true double-edged sword. Wielded correctly, it can make you a Maven, someone with incredible insight and influence. But if you're not careful, it can become a trap, a source of endless anxiety and stress. It really all comes down to how you choose to use it. So let's talk about the good stuff first, the massive upside. When you learn to harness this ability, you become what we call a Maven. And a Maven is someone who uses their incredible powers of observation to gain a unique, almost unfair advantage in any room they walk into. What we're really talking about here is reframing this. It's not sensitivity, it's active observation. It's a skill. That moment you notice your boss's smile doesn't quite reach their eyes when they talk about the new project, that's not you overthinking. That's you displaying high cognitive complexity. You're processing multiple layers of data, logic, emotion, nonverbals, that other people are completely missing. This is the definition of street smarts. So check this out. Here's what the Maven looks like in a real-world meeting. While everyone else is arguing about whether an idea is good or bad, the Maven notices the key stakeholder keeps frowning slightly whenever someone mentions the timeline. The Maven realizes the real issue isn't the idea, it's the unspoken fear about not having enough resources. So instead of arguing, they ask a brilliant question. How can we make sure we have the resources to do this right? Boom. The entire energy of the room shifts. They just addressed the real problem, and in doing so, guided the entire group to a solution. That is influence, that is leadership. But there's a flip side, a really dangerous one, because that powerful brain of yours, if it's not managed, can turn on you. It can create what psychologists call stagnant water stories. And trust me, you don't want to be swimming in there. Oh, we've all been here. You send a text and they take a few hours to reply. You sense just a little bit of distance. And your mind immediately starts spinning a story. They're mad at me, I said something stupid, I'm not important enough. Your brain is literally making things up. It's a process called confabulation, filling in the gaps with your worst fears instead of facts. And before you know it, you're drowning in this murky, stagnant water of anxiety. So this is the whole game right here, learning how to manage this gift. And the first step is huge. You have to stop thinking of your mind as one single voice. It's not. It's more like a committee, a really loud, chaotic committee sometimes, but a committee that you, and only you, are in charge of. Think about it. Inside your head, you've got different voices vying for attention. You've got the insecure child who freaks out at the slightest hint of rejection. But you also have the wise sage, the part of you that knows deep down that other people's moods are usually about them, not you. Your job, your only job, is to be the circus director. You're the one who listens to all the noisy acts, but ultimately decides who gets the spotlight. Okay, so let's get down to brass tacks. This is the practical, actionable tool that's going to put you firmly in the director's chair. This is how you audit your social radar and consciously, deliberately break that anxiety cycle for good. We call this the 24-hour reset. It's your mental workbench. So, step 1, you sense the signal, that delayed reply, whatever it is. Step 2, you identify the story your brain is telling you. You actually name it. There's the I'm not good enough story again. But then, and this is key, before you react, you stop and you put that story to the test. This is the question. This is the whole thing right here. You ask yourself, if I fully believe this story for the next 24 hours, what kind of behavior will it create in me? Will it make me needy? Will it make me avoidant and weird? Will it lead to self-sabotage? If the answer is yes, then the thought has failed the test. You have to drop it. It doesn't matter if it feels true. It's not useful, it's a trap. This is how you take back control, in real time. You see, when you start doing this consistently, you fundamentally change the game. You're no longer just a passive reactor to whatever signals the world throws at you. You become the active architect of your own reality. You get to decide which signals matter, and more importantly, you get to decide what they mean. And I want you to really let this sink in. You are not those old repetitive stories about rejection. You are not the anxious committee in your head. You are the awareness that sits behind all of that. You are the one who chooses which script to read from and which one to toss in the fire. So I'll leave you with a challenge. Think of a signal you picked up on recently, one that started a negative story spinning. Using this new code, this 24-hour test, how could you rewrite it? What silent signal will you choose to take control of today? Thanks for tuning in.